All right, folks, back to the grind. Here we go again. Second lesson for 7.2 complementary and supplementary angles. Now, yesterday we talked about vertical angles, which are also known as opposite angles, and those are equal to each other, right? So vertical angles are equal to each other. And then we also talked about adjacent angles, and you can think of, your best friend Jason lives right next door to you, or is standing right next to you, right? And so I have a Jason right next to me, right? And so again, adjacent next to you, right next to you on either side, left or right. So right here, 60 degrees would be the angle, and 120 is adjacent, and right here, and this is also adjacent. But you can see that across vertical is our opposite or vertical angles there. Okay, so looking into this first example that I gave to you, it says use a straight edge, draw a pair, which is two vertical angles with a given measure. Right now, if you don't have a protractor, estimate the measurements based off your knowledge of what 90 and 180 degrees is. Right, so measurements do not need to be accurate. So you would use a straight edge right now, and again, push pause if you would like to see this. Now I'm going to push pause on my screen as well and do these, and then we'll come back and explain them to you. All right, what I've done here in the red line, right, I drew a 90-degree angle, right, because I don't have a protractor on here that I can use for you. But I know what a 90-degree angle is, so I drew that in there with that red line. And then I know that half of 90, right, so this side or this side would be 45 degrees, right? So I could say that this is 45. Right, and then I would come over here and I would get rid of my red line. And get rid of that as well. And so now I have left with two 45-degree angles. All right, so 45. All right, moving along down here, I'm going to push pause, and so you guys can see after I get done. All right, here we go, back at it. So when I left you, there was nothing here, but now I drew my straight line right there, and then I drew my 90-degree angle, and then I drew this green line, which I know is 45, right? So if this is 90, right, this would be 90, right? And so half of it would be 45, right? So we have 90, right? So if we're going from this direction, right? So far we're at 90, right? And this is 45, right? I'm trying to get a 160-degree angle. And so that's 45, so 90 plus 45 is 135, right? So I'm still a little bit shy of 160, so which I'm trying to get to, right? And so what's half of 45? Well, half of 45 would then be, excuse me, I wanted to use a line for that one, but I did not. Right, so half of 45, right? Half of 20, half of 45, half of 40 is 20, right? So we have about 22. So at 135, and we know that that is now 22.5. If you want to be precise. So 90 plus 45 is 135. Plus that's 165, 167. And so I can say with pretty much certainty that this is roughly, right, roughly going to be right below it, and along with my black line right there, I know that this angle, right, I'm gonna have to get rid of some of my things that I drew here. The bigger one there, right? Just getting rid of all this stuff, right? Because I drew those angles to basically help me decide where everything else was, right? So I can get rid of my 90-degree angle, that's gone. Get rid of my 45-degree angle, that's gone. And I can get rid of my 22.5, right? And so now that I see that, I can say that from here to here is 160 degrees, and then the opposite of it is going to be equal because they're equal to each other. It's also 160 degrees. And then I could see, like, yeah, that's about 20, right? So I know that my straight line from here all the way to here would be 180 degrees, right? All right. Push pause. All right. And so I just did the same thing. I drew my straight line. It's 180 degrees. I split it in half. So this side's 90 and this side is 90. And I'm looking for 30 degrees, right? And I know something about 30 degrees and 90, that it's 1/3, right? And so if I took, I'm just estimating here, right? So if I take and break this into thirds, right? So one piece, right? I can see roughly that this angle, and this angle are about the same. This one looks a little bigger to me, but you know what? We're good. So then I'll say, okay, well, maybe let's go below that and say that that's my 30 degree, right? And then I'll go around here and I'll get rid of my 90, I'll get rid of my 30s, get rid of that symbol, right? And so then I would say that I have roughly a 30 degree angle and a 30 degree angle. Nope, that's a 30. Let's see. 30 degrees. All right. So anyways, that's on to the next one. So today we are going to be looking at how can we classify two angles as complementary, right? Oops, I don't know what happened there. Complementary angles, and how can we classify, come on, there we go. And how can we classify supplementary angles? So complementary angles and supplementary angles right there. All right, so the key idea today is that complementary angles, those are angles that add up to be 90 degrees. Right, so you can see that here, 30 plus 60, well, that equals 90. Right, and so we would say that angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary to each other because they equal 90 degrees. Okay. Supplementary angles, on the other hand, these are two angles that when their sum adds up to be 180, right? So we see that 135 plus 45, well, that equals 180 degrees. So you see that angle 3 and angle 4, if you go all the way over, right? That's what we call 180 degrees. And so we say that angle 3 and 4 are supplementary because they add up to be 180 degrees together. All right, so complete each sentence with always, sometimes, or never. If X and Y are complementary, right? So based off of our knowledge, sorry about that, I pushed pause, but based off of this slide right here, we're going to use always, sometimes, or never to put in here, right? And so if X and Y are complementary, again, push pause if you want some time to do this, or just follow along with me. If X and Y are complementary, add up to 90 degrees, then both X and Y are always acute angles, sometimes acute angles, or never acute angles. And so if I draw a little picture here, I know that my two angles have to be in here, and I know something about acute angles, and acute angles are less than 90. So any line that I draw in here, right? Draw that line, I can draw this line, I can draw this line, right? Anything in here is going to be less than 90 degrees, right? So I'd say always. Okay. If X and Y are supplementary angles, add up to 180 degrees, then X is acute. Supplementary angles, right? So that's a flat angle. So we say that X and Y, so if angle X and Y are supplementary angles, add up to 180, then X is acute. So that, right, if this is the case, right, and this was X and this was Y, we would say, yes, that is true. But what happens if you say that this is X and this is Y? They still both add up to 180, but this is a sometimes acute, right? So sometimes X can be acute. X is a right angle. Sorry, if X is a right angle, then X is acute. That would be never, right? And why is that? Well, because acute angles are less than 90 degrees, and a right angle is exactly 90 degrees, right? So if it was 89.9, right, it would be acute, but if it's 90, it's called a right angle. Right? If X and Y are complementary angles, then X and Y are adjacent. So complementary, they add up to 90 degrees, right? So if these are in here, we would say that X and Y, we would have to say they are always, sometimes, or never. Now, if you have it like this, that is true, right? But what happens if you say that something like this, and we have this angle, and we have this angle, and we say that this angle is 30, and this angle is 60. I know they look similar, but bear with me, right? Now, they're not right next to each other, so we would say that sometimes they can be adjacent, not always, right? This is going to be a yes, this is going to be a no, so we have to use the sometimes. If X and Y are supplementary angles, then X and Y are vertical, right? So supplementary angles add up to be 180 degrees, and this would be thinking about that one right now. So I was trying to think of so this is a 180, right? And say that this is angle X, this is angle Y. This would also be a sometimes. So they can be sometimes. So if this was Y over here, then that would be true, right? And that would be supplementary. This would be vertical. Angles, but not always. This could be right here as well. All right, so work with a partner. Tell whether the two angles shown on the clock are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Again, push pause if you need some time to do this on your own, or just follow along. So we'd say that this angle, right? We know that this angle is all the way around, right? Would be how many degrees? You guessed it. A complete circle is 360 degrees. So if we divide 360 by 12, right? 360 by 12, 36 divided by 12 is 3 with a 0. So each angle, each one of these is 30 degrees, right? And that makes sense because 30, 60, 90, right? And that would form our 90-degree angle. And so when we look at that, we say like, yes, that would be 360 degrees all the way around. So each one of these boxes is 30. So two of them times 2, right? That'd be 60, right? And then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 30. Right? 8 times 3 is 24. With a 0, right? Oh, excuse me. Did that completely wrong, right? It's not that one. They're just looking at this angle right here, right? So 30, 60, 90, 120. So my fault. Sorry, guys. So 120. And so we're saying that 60 plus 120, that would what we call supplementary. So I'm just going to put a sup there. Sounds like Carson. Sup. All right. So looking at here, we have 30, right? And then we have it broken up, and there's only ticks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal sections in there, right? So there's 4 little dots. So what's 30 divided by 5? So that would be 6. So each little section is 6. Right? So what I'm saying is that each little tick mark in there is 6, and so it goes full. That's 30, right? And then 6, 12, 6, 12, 18, right? So we have 18. This is getting a little tricky here. So that one's 48. And then over here we have, this is 30, 36, sorry, 6, 12. So 30 plus 12 is 42. And we add those together and they equal 90. So we would say these are complementary angles. All right. This one is 180, right? Because it's from here all the way to here, right? And it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 times 30 is 180. And we can already know that these are going to be neither supplementary nor complementary because it will be way over 180. So we'd say neither. Neither. Can't wait for my writing pen to get here. All right, so again, this is 90. So it's not going to be complementary because it's already not, and this is 90. All right, so together they make 180. So we say sup. All right. So going into our examples right here, use the figure shown, name 4 pairs of complementary angles and 4 pairs of supplementary. So you can see right here, complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So angles 7 and 8, right? You can see that angle 7 and 8 would make a right angle right there. So those are 90. I can say 5 and 6. Again, push pause if you want a chance to do this on your own. That would make a 90-degree angle. And then 1 and 2 would make a 90-degree angle. Right? And then 3 and 4 would make a 90-degree angle. Now, you could say like, oh, that's 90 degrees, but we really don't know that for a fact. And again, up here, I'm just going off of this square rectangular shape right here, that this would be 90, and we'd assume that those would be 90 as well based off some other rules, but we're not going to go there right now. And then supplementary angles add up to 180, so it's all the way around, so I'm going to say 9 and 10. Right, and how did I get that? Well, it goes from here all the way to there, right? And then 10 to 11 are also, right? And then 11 to 12. And then from 12 to 9, 9 and 12 as well. We'll put the smaller number first. All right, name 2 pairs of vertical angles. Ooh, this is fun, right? So 10 and 12, they're opposite, right? 10 and 12, opposite angles. They're equal to each other, right? And 9 and 11, right? And so 9 and 11, 10 and 12. And I'm looking right here. Oh, I guess it's only 2 pairs, right? So I guess I don't need any more of that. I think I copy and pasted. All right, so tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Again, remember complementary is 90. And how I remember that, the 2 different ones, I'll show you a little trick. See the C right here? Draw a little line down. What do you notice right there? Oops. Right, do it right. Well, that forms a 90, right? And the supplementary, right? I just cross my S, so if I have an S here, right? And I just go like that, that forms my 8 and my 180, right? So the S right there, right? I'll do that again. So you have your S, and then basically take a different color, right? And you connect, and what did I form? I forms the 8 and the 180. Pretty clever, I know. You're welcome. All right, so right here, 90 complementary, supplementary 80, right? So I look at these, well, 110 plus 70, well, that's 180. So I would say that that is a supplementary angle, right? 49 plus 41 makes 50, 90, so that's 90. So that is what we call complementary. And then finally right here, 128 plus 162, all right? So that make 30, 130 plus 60 equals 180. And so I'd say that those are supplementary angles. Not really taking the yellow pen right now, so I'm gonna get rid of that. All right, so tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. These ones are due on your own, so you want to try to push pause and give yourself a second to do these on your own. But again, we're just simply adding them together. 6 plus 4 is 10, so 70. 70 plus 20 is 90. So I would say that these are complementary. And then add these together, and I get 180, and so I'd say that these are supplementary. And then 70 plus that would be 89, and so I would say neither. or knee if you're. I tell whether the angles are complementary or supplementary, and then find the value of x. There are two parts here. I see right there that these are going to be complementary, so I know they're going to add up to what? You guessed it, 90 degrees, right? So all I have to do is set both of these angles equal to 90 degrees. So 4x plus 36 equals 90. I'm going to subtract off 36 from both sides. And I have 4x equals 8, 10, 4, and 8 minus 5. So then I'll divide by 4. Divide by 4, x equals, what is that, 16? No, that's not 16. Hold on a second. All right, so we have x is equal to 13.5. All right. Now, if I wanted to figure out what this angle was right here, when a letter's up against a number, all I say is 4 times 13.5, and I can check my work right here. So 4 times 13.5 is 54. 54 plus 36 is 90. I know I did it right. All right, so I'm going to change colors of pen just so I can kind of separate these two. Now I know that from here all the way to here, even though it doesn't say it's a straight angle, so it's equal to 180. So I know that my numbers are going to add up, right? Supplementary are add up to be 180. X plus x minus 4. Well, combine like terms, 2x minus 4 equals 180. Plus 4 on both sides. So I have 2x equals 184. You guessed it, divide by 2. Divide by 2. Half of 100 is 50, half of 80 is 40, half of 4 is 2, right? So I have 50 plus 40 plus 2, and so I had to say x is 92 degrees. Right, and if I looked at that, 92 minus 4, right, what would that be? That would be 88, right? And 88 plus 92, because I just put x in there, and that equals 180 degrees. Tell whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, then find the value of x, right? These are probably on your own, or give them a shot on your own. Push pause. So from here to here, I know that what? You betcha, 180 degrees, straight angle, right? And so I say 4x plus 5 plus 41, right? Because we're adding them together, equals 180 degrees, right? So I can add my my like term, so 4x plus 46 equals 180 minus 46 minus 46. We have 4x equals, if I dropped it off 40, I'd have 140, and go down 6 more, I have 134. Right? And I'll divide by that. Remember the divisibility rules here. The last 2 digits are multiple of 4, then it's divisible evenly by 4. If we're looking at 34, not going to happen, so we'll have some type of a decimal. So pop that into the calculator, and I have 134 divided by 4. I get 33.5. Right? So I'm looking at that right there and I say, okay, well, let's double check it really fast. What's 4 times 33.5? So 4 times 33.5 equals 134 plus 5, 139. 139 plus 41 is 180. What did I do? I plugged that number in there for x right there, right? Remember, a number up against a letter means to multiply. So I have 139 on this side plus 41, 180 degrees. I know I did it correct. This tells us that this equals to 90, right? So I'm going to go ahead and say 2x. These are what did I not do? This is supplementary. This is complementary, right? So I have 2x minus 3 plus x equals 90. Where did 90 come from? Well, right there it tells us that this angle from here and this angle from here, both together, is 90 degrees. All right, so I have 3x, right? Where did I get that? 2x plus 1x minus 3 equals 90 plus 3 on both sides, two-step equation. But you didn't realize how much you'd be using equations this school year. And we have 3x minus 87. 8 plus 7 is 15. So I know that's divisible evenly by 3. 87 divided by 3 is 29. All right, so x equals 29. So 2 times 29 would be what? 29 times 2, 58, minus 3 equals 55. 55 plus 55 plus. All right, so something happened there. I think something went wrong. 87, 3. And why did I figure out I got something wrong? Well, so I put this number in here. So 2 times 29 is 58. 58 minus 3 is 55. And 55 plus 29, well, that equals 84. But what do I need to have here? I need to have 90 degrees. Okay, so let's retrace our steps. 2x minus 3 plus x, okay, equals 90 degrees. So we say 3x minus 3, so we plus 3 on that side. Oh, what did I do there? Not 87, it is. Right, so I said 87, but it's plus 3, right? So it's not plus that. It is not 87, it is 93. Nope. All right, so 93. Right, and so we divide by 3. We have x is equal to, well, there's 3 groups of 3 there and 1 group there, so 31. All right, so looking at that now, I would say that 31 times 62, 59, 59 plus 31 is 90 degrees, and I got it, right? So that's the importance of checking your work. All right, true or false? Supplementary angles could both be acute. Supplementary, remember supplementary you have to add up to be 180 degrees, so they cannot both be acute. So we'd say that is a big false answer. All right. Supplementary angles could be congruent. So congruent means, another word for congruent means equal, right? So supplementary angles could be congruent when they are 90 degrees, right? So 90 degrees here, 90 degrees there. So it could be, not always, but could be. Complementary angles sum to 180 degrees. That is incorrect. Remember, you draw a little line down, it forms a 90. So we would say that's false. That's a true. Right. Complementary angles could be obtuse, and that's just not true because complementary angles add up to be 90 degrees, so they have to be within this box, and so we'd say that would be false, right? Because obtuse angles are greater than 90, but complementary angles are 90, right? So they can't be more than it. And then every angle has a complement and a supplement. Every angle, yeah, so every angle does have a complement and supplement. So if we had, say, 20 degrees here, well, its complement would be 70, right? Or its supplement would be 160, right? Because they add up to be 180, so that's true as well. All right. Thanks, folks. Make sure that you watch the notes before you try to do the assignments. Again, push pause when you need to push pause, and go from there. Have a great day.